Out for a minute to visit an old friend. So I'd like to introduce Kent Berkland. He's a department head for applied technologies at Avtech, Alaska's Institute of Technology. He oversees auto, diesel, welding, industrial electricity, power generation, heavy equipment, medium and heavy truck training programs. He has a bachelor's degree in industrial education and a master's in education and has been with Avtech since 1984. And the folks at Avtech have been working quite diligently to get their wind diesel training program operational, and we look forward to hearing about it.
Thank you. And I guess that means that I'm the old guy, got my gray hair and white beard because I've been here so long. But yeah, Avtech is, we're the oldest vocational school, I think, in the state. We've been around since 1969. Let's see if this thing, we're a division of the Alaska Department of Labor and Workforce Development. Used to be part of the Department of Education, but they figured since we teach people how to go to work, we get out of education and get into labor. Been providing occupational education since 1969. We were essentially brought in to train Alaskans in how to deal with the first pipeline. And we've been going at it ever since, 40 years, actually by now. I think his math's a little bit off. In Seward, we do training in Seward. We have a facility in Anchorage for doing web development and nurse training. And then we also have distance delivery, which is going all over the state. We've even had students in Chicago area, so on. We enroll about 1,350 students per year in job preparatory classes. So that's just everything we do, upgrade training, maritime. Like I say, my department is industrial electricity, automotive, heavy diesel, power generation, bulk fuels, welding, both pipe welding and structural welding. And within that, you know, we're very intense. We're 6 hours to 7 hours a day immersed into the programs that the students are trying to go to. We train to a diverse and effective workforce that supports economic growth and stability of our state. Yeah, our students go to work. They stay in state. They live here. One of the issues we've had sometimes is the employers still don't recognize the value of vocational training within the state. And CH2M Hill was one of the ones we've just had a long discussion with, and they have actually put in some of their job announcements that a graduate of a vocational program within the related studies that they're looking for. Our diesel power plant operation program has been in effect since before I've been there. In fact, we originally were working with AVEC, and over the years of transmission worked with AEA, and our power plant has evolved also. When I first started there, I was told you walk into the power plant, you start this engine, when you get the 3 little white numbers on there to stop wiggling, start the other one, bring them up, do that, walk over to the big switch on the wall, turn your back, close your eyes, and slam it up. Right now, as of January, we have a year-old SCADA system that's all automatic, and AEA can see what we're doing. We can remotely watch what's going on in the powerhouse and so on through cameras. So we're a little bit beyond that. What we've done with our program for a wind diesel program is we've added wind operation into the program, extended it by a week for an initial operator. And this is for people that are going to come into the power plant operation job that have not done it before, that the village or the corporation or wherever they're going has a wind component or is getting a wind component. So we're bringing both of those together. A lot of the simple and straightforward training, electrical is electrical, whether it's done by a generator with a diesel engine, a generator with a hydro component, or a wind generator. It's all the same electricity and so on, how we integrate it, how it works back and forth. We'll go on from that point. The one thing that we're really having to deal with is they're way up there. Unlike Kurt's, you know, they're only 70 feet tall. You know, ours is 30 meters and it's a short one, and you know, the regulations get into that. So we've brought in a component of climbing, and that's one of the things that, you know, the people that are going to come to us, they're going to learn how to go up there, go out, go over the top, torque the bolts, do the things, and then come back down. So, you know, within that. We teach bulk fuels and bulk fuel plant operation. That's also one of the things that we deal with. You know, we do 2 courses per year. Due to city regulations, we can't do a whole lot of bulk fuels around on our property, so we build our own little plant inside the shop, and they put it all together, level it out, air check it, make sure it's ready to go, and so on. And then they go back to the village. We do some field trips to the shoreside facility right next to us, which has about 7 million gallons worth of storage. Hydro is coming online. We have taken over the city's small hydro plant. It's a micro hydro plant, I guess. It's a 250 kW unit, but we only have enough water out of the reservoir you can see here for about 100 kW year round. Within that, hopefully when that's back up, the control system has been physically broken by the city, and so we're going to get a new control system put in there, and it should be online, we hope, within a year, and it will be putting power into the grid. So, that's a nice system there. The reservoir here is, a 20-minute walk from school, so it's not too big a deal. In the wintertime, you got to have cleats to get up there, it's a little icy, but we've got to get some equipment up and dig it out. It's been a little bit filled in. Okay, we initially did our studying with Met Tower up, and our placement for the turbine is not ideal for making power, but that's not why it's up. It's up for making people that can work on it and so on. So it's been actually put into an area where I think we get wind about half the time, and you can't see it from where it's at here, but there's a building right in front of the wind tower that has a nice shed roof like this, so it tends to make the wind go right up and over top, but we'll get that squared away. Lots of different things. By the way, STG just finished putting ours up in December, and I think, looking at all the slides they just did for what they do, ours was a piece of cake. The biggest logistic problem was the guy missed a turnoff and had to go around the block to find us because we're on the road system. They drove everything down. And the guys do get a little wild every now and then. We had so much ice, I couldn't find anybody out there. They were all gone. And looked inside, the wind was blowing so hard, they were all huddled inside the tower working on the electricity on the inside of it. And actually, the first picture on the left is the installation of the blades in the hub assembly. And this was, I think, December 19th of last year. So it's up, it's ready to go. We're waiting for an intertie hookup, and hopefully that'll be done before the end of the class we've got started here, so that we can actually make everything work and happen as it goes. So the process with this, we have a second class starting on actually the day after Memorial Day, and that's a 3-week class for advanced power plant people that have been working in a power plant, that have had power plant training. They're going to get a little bit of review, and then we're going back into how the wind turbine interties into a diesel power plant and how the whole setup goes from there. And the shameless plug is I need an instructor that has some experience in wind. I've been told an interim coming, but we want to take this beyond. My bio said I've been at Avtech since 85, 84. I've gotten so many calls on our very generic wind program on our website from all over that I think this is a scratch of what's going to happen. I think it's also the beginning, the first time maybe schools have been ahead of the game. We're actually developing programs to meet a need that's not exactly here yet, but it's coming. Within 2 years, there are going to be, a lot more of the people that we want to deliver. The jobs will be there. So on with Fire Island when it comes on, if it does. Kodiak's going to be out. More turbines going in rural Alaska. Training people to keep them up and going and integrate them is going to be important for everyone. This picture and talks about a few things. One of the items here is you can see the wind turbine in the upper right-hand corner. The building that's slated to be there no longer will be going in there anymore because the setbacks don't allow us. We had a little bit of a difficulty with the city and the planning and zoning because of tower height and setback and everything else. So our long-term plan will remove that one building. I think it says auto shop on it. and so on. But that's essentially what it looks like. Yeah. Our training objective is to establish a world-class wind diesel program that supports the interests and stakeholders from across Alaska. Wind diesel system owners, operators, Rural Alaska Electric Cooperatives, Alaska Wind Energy Authority. We want to create a hands-on educational opportunities through on-campus wind diesel installation. We want to utilize standardized, proven, and relevant technologies for Alaskan applications. One more thing I'm going to add into here is that we have a very, effective distance delivery component, and I want to, develop that and be able to deliver additional classes, so that people don't have to come to AvTech. They can log on to, AvTech online and take a class in either basic electricity or advanced electricity or whatever we're looking at, and then that's coming within the years too. Currently, no wind diesel programs exist in the state. Is that still correct? I know Kodiak's been working on one. What have you got? Anything in the wind? So we're I guess ahead of the game and so on. So we've got all the facilities available. We have a 0.5 megawatt diesel power plant sitting there. We've got 100 kW north wind sitting there. As soon as the ground thaws out, everything will be tied together, and we'll be up and running. Approximately 20 unique utility scale wind projects are currently in operation across Alaska. I think this is out of date now. I keep hearing more and more and more. So, and that's the changing. This slide system is probably 2 weeks old, and so on. So, Alaska's Renewable Energy Fund will support a significant number of new wind energy products. So, it is there. We're going to deliver the training. We're going to make sure that the students know what they do. This is the one thing that AvTech has always prided themselves on, and the reason I've been there for so darn long is that I believe in what we do. And when we look at our students going to work, and this is across the board, we're talking 92% placement in employable students. Students that can do what we say they can do. Students that have got real work experience, they've got ideas how to go to work, and they've got the skills to do the job. And it's kind of gratifying on my end of it, shamelessly saying this, that I've had the offspring of students that I taught in the early 80s. I've got students that we taught in the 90s that are now managing different companies around the area or working high level. So we do what we say we can do, and we are also responsive to what's going on. If somebody wants specific training that we don't offer as a stock course, we can do it. We can put it together. We can put it together usually in a very short amount of time, if it's desired. I've got a class starting next week on small diesel engines for the yacht club. So boom. They didn't like working on big diesel engines, so I had to go down and scrounge small diesel engines from the local marina and so on, because they like the 1 and 2 engine ones, 2-cylinder ones rather than 6 and 8-cylinder ones. But those are the things we do. We do delivery to anywhere. I've been in Unaquik Inlet in February teaching to cannery people. We do Red Dogs related studies for electronics and electricity. So if there's something you think you need or want, we can deliver it, or we can facilitate it. Historically, rural Alaska's wind diesel operators have been sent out of state to receive necessary training. I think Northwind's probably the biggest recipient of that. The AvTech program will be based on successful training programs already established by Alaska's largest wind energy system operator, AVEC. Well, we're partnering up with them, and we'll see how that goes. And we're also going to find out. I mean, this is new territory to a certain degree. I'm sure this first class, not everything that we want will be in there, but we will make the changes as it goes. It's an Alaska-based program with significantly reduced training costs while providing opportunities for expanded curriculum, introduction, intermediate, and advanced, and so on. We already have a program looking at for starting in August that will be an advanced wind technician or a wind diagnostician program, 41 weeks, heavy into industrial electricity, PLCs, that kind of thing. So that will be up and going. We're going to put in some solar cells, photovoltaic units, and add that in there. And then the hydro should be up within a year. So we've got that squared away. We are a residential school. We have dormitories. We have student family housing. We have daycare, we have all the facilities, so you know, it's not like somebody has to leave their family, so on. We also have strict standards. Some of the issues that we see, you know, we don't tolerate a whole lot. Attendance is very important. You know, you're here for a short time in our programs. You know, some of the long-term programs, 3 tardies. I mean, you're late to class 3 or 4 times, you're under probation. If you're late 3 or 4 more times, you're explaining to us why you want to be here and why somebody's funding you to be here and so on. Strictly no drugs and alcohol. It's an unfortunate situation, but I have a breathalyzer and drug test kits in my desk drawer. And I haven't had to use it this year, which is a first. But you know, I show it to all the students and say, you know, this is what happens. And we use a very strict standard. Everything that we deal with is within the Department of Transportation guidelines, 0.02. 0.02 and you're out of class for a day. You know, send you home. Do it twice and you're going to be explaining to administration why we're going to keep you and so on. And dealing with Alaska Energy Authority, when they send students to us, 0. And the Alaska Energy Authority sends them back. So, you know, we are very serious about this. With high voltage, you know, electricity and everything else, no mistakes. We have to be dead on with this. Operating cost reduction at the school's industrial electrical and welding facilities. Right now I can run my welding shops off of a generator when the power goes out. We could actually feed back the whole grid that we're on when the power goes out in Seward, except for one little connection between us and the grid. So we can actually overpower that with all, you know, what we can do. But the City of Seward's working with us. We are going to be able to deal with this and go on from there. Total net energy production estimates are 100,756 kilowatt hours annually, which would save $7,300 our electrical costs. So if we could actually tie our 3 buildings together, I have 2 buildings that are built together, but they're electrically isolated. We could even do better than this. But again, the placement of this was not for making energy, it was for training. And that's what its whole sole purpose was, is to train Alaskans to deal with new technologies. That's all I've got. You got any questions?
Have you done the first introduction class for wind yet?
Starts March 28th.
March 28th?
March 28th, yes. So, yeah, and then we have a secondary class that starts May 31st, and that's a 3-week advanced level class. And then in August of this year, we'll start the advanced wind technician course, which is 41 weeks long.
So are the first 2 that you mentioned the diesel operator, or are they the standalone wind?
The first class is a wind diesel operation. The second one is a wind diesel operation, but it's getting rid of all the diesel because the person that's coming to that class has already got power plant experience working and so on. And these 2 classes are pretty much, well, they are totally geared to AVEC and AEA people. So our typical power plant class is geared for AVEC, AEA, but it's also open to the public. These classes are not open to the public right now. Next year, when we get more things going, we'll be developing some classes for public use. And that's, again, we're at the cusp of things. The questions that I've got are a lot of them on smaller units, you know, 100 kW unit, you know, 30 meters in the air is a little bit different than what you're going to put in your backyard. And, you know, at $8,500 a kilowatt for a large unit like that, just not something that somebody's going to afford. But
any other questions for Kent?
Yeah, I've got one. Who's the power company you're working with, and how was the difficulty with the interconnection agreement? Is that progress, has it been very difficult or not so difficult?
That's actually got multi-levels there. The City of Seward is the power company. The City of Seward does not generate power. They buy their power from Chugach Electric. And so it's kind of a pass-through. And and they have not wanted to deal with it. Kurt's got a person down there with SkyStream that's had issues with the city, and I think the city probably, as Kurt said, just said, heck with it. He's one person, no big deal. When it came to us, we're a government entity also, and this is 100 kW, and they're beginning to see the light. So they scrambled to develop guidelines within the city, which they did not have before. So they're working at it slowly, and I think once we get everything hooked up, that's okay. Engineering-wise, between the North Wind, our power plant, and the facility has been a little bit different group. Been through lots of different scenarios, super expensive ones that we couldn't afford, and we've, I think, come down to one that's quite usable, but like I say, we're waiting now to get the ground to thaw out to dig and do some other things. I am not an electrical person. I'm an old auto mechanic. So when people start talking, you know, KVAs and VARs and things like that, I go, and I kind of be real quiet. So, but my industrial electricity instructor is an EE electrical engineer, and he's doing all that legwork within that. And our discussion yesterday was, it looks like it's going to be ready to go. It probably just takes, you know, some time for, you know, the environment to thaw out.